Anyway, chaps, I've got Dave. Is it Dave or David?
Oh yeah, Dave, whatever, as long as it's nice.
Cool. Happy days, mate. Happy days, David. You contacted us about your play called Partense a good couple of months ago now, wasn't it?
Yeah,
And I'm just like, okay, I see messages like that all the time. But when you sent me the scripty thing, the rough copy, I think I'll come back at you with a little bit of constructive criticism,
yeah,
and
you
you
did, yeah.
changed it. And I'm like, these aren't guys looking to sell tickets. There's a hidden message going on here. What's going on here? It's just this isn't like you're hiring out theatres, aren't you?
Yeah, and look, it's a not-for-profit thing. We're not trying to make money out of this. We're just trying to be creative people getting our stuff out there. But there's a motivation behind it in that both characters in our play, both main characters, in fact, all three indirectly suffer from quite serious mental health issues, but all deal with it very, very differently. And we just wanted to get the word out there and get it out there accurately. Hence, one of the reasons why we contacted you, because we didn't want to we didn't want to make a play and get it wrong when it's dealing with some quite sensitive issues around, things like suicide or suicidal thoughts, or just the inability of men to talk about the things that are affecting them. And all of our characters have got different issues, and that sounds quite dark, but because we're using comedy to talk about it, as well as a bit of darkness in there, we've got to be careful to get the messaging right and to make sure that we land it properly. It's not right to write something like this and kind of get it wrong, if that makes sense, especially as the play is dedicated to one of our fellow creatives who took his own life 6 months ago. And also both myself and Seth have had real challenges with mental health over the years, Seth being the other writer.
Yeah.
So, we wanted to make sure it was pretty accurate.
Yeah, but I think that's a hard thing as well. And well done to you. That's a hard thing because depression for you could be completely different to depression for me, isn't it?
Yeah, and I get it in waves. I kind of know I know when it's happening to me. I think when it used to happen to me, I had a pretty tough childhood. I had ADHD. I didn't realize that I suffered from it until I was an adult, and I saw it in my son actually. But I always felt that I was different to other people, and that people didn't understand me. I wasn't very good at expressing myself, and I always struggle with that. Even now, I get imposter syndrome to the nth degree. I can't even begin to tell you. So putting yourself up on the stage with something you've written in front of
Yeah,
lots of people is, I mean, that alone is a mental health challenge, but it's also weirdly cathartic as well.
yeah.
But yeah, for me, it's different to you, and for Seth, it's very different too. He lost his friend 6 months ago. It took him to a very dark place, and he's really really struggled since, and he always has. And again, I think even with Seth, he has quite a few neurodivergences which he's not aware of or he's
Yeah.
not had diagnosed. But it's pretty clear when you meet him. And in the acting world, there's a lot of people like that. A lot of people become actors because they struggle academically for lots of different reasons, and maybe they find acting a little bit less academic, so it's easier to get into,
Well,
perhaps.
funny enough, there's quite a few actors with borderline personality disorder.
Yeah, well, I mean, you can see why, can't you? We all
Yeah, no,
try and be other
absolutely.
people all the time. If we don't have it before we start acting, we certainly we certainly get it afterwards and during.
One thing I was going to, because obviously you're an established actor, how with some mental health
Yeah.
issues or dramas, whatever I don't even know
No,
whatever,
I couldn't even
you know
I
what I'm
couldn't
trying
even
to say.
categorize it for you.
No, no, exactly. How do you keep hold of you?
Well, I mean, it's challenging, especially with ADHD. My brain is running at 1,000 miles an hour all the time, and actually, the hardest time for me is when there's nothing going on. If
Right,
I'm
okay.
really busy and don't have time to think or dwell on things or reflect on things, I tend to just burn myself out over time, and that's the way I cope with it, through burning myself out. I know that sounds crazy, but
Yeah.
it's the days where I don't have any writing to do, I don't have any acting to do, or I don't have anything to prepare, and then what happens is I start to overthink everything, and that's when it starts to hit me. I guess the difference for me though is that I somehow managed to make it to 49, God knows how, but I'm here. And I think because of that, I just kind of learned when I'm having, I don't want to call it an episode because it's not that extreme, but I know when I'm starting to trail off. And when that happens, I kind of recognize it, and I don't beat myself up so much for it like I used to. I
Yeah.
used to really freak out and worry about it, and go to some pretty dark places. But now I think I just managed to coast it a little bit, I think, because I know now that in a few months' time or a few weeks' time, I'm going to feel better. So I think I can just hold on to that and get through those darker days, you know.
How do you do that? You got any tricks for Dave?
Yeah, I mean, one of the issues is not sleeping properly and probably drinking too much. I know that sounds crazy, but that's what tends to happen. You try and numb your feelings by having a drink or whatever, and then you feel a bit crap the next day, and then you also feel crap because you've had a drink, and then it's just, I mean, it's not quite alcoholic levels, but do you know what I mean? I probably do numb myself a little bit because I don't take medication for my ADHD or anything, and I just find sometimes having a glass of wine or whatever shuts the brain up for a little bit.
Yeah.
But you can't keep doing that. That's not the way to handle yourself. So I'm not recommending everyone goes out and has a drink, but you know, I think just finding people to talk to and socialize with and being with other people is sometimes the best thing you can do. And I'm very lucky to have a supportive wife who doesn't judge me or get angry or upset at me when I'm in one of these phases. She kind of knows just to gently keep an eye on me and make sure I'm all right without, you know, being on top of me all the time, asking me if I'm all right all the time and all that sort of stuff. So I'm pretty lucky, really. I also suggest, by the way, if anyone hasn't done it, get yourself a pet. I know it doesn't sound like much, but you're feeling sorry for yourself, and then you turn around, you've got this little face looking at you needing food or something, and suddenly it gives you a small sense of like value in that moment and purpose, and that can be quite helpful too. I know it's not easy for everyone, but it certainly helps me having
I would agree with that. I'd agree with that. Yeah, again, just to cover my arse, your arse, and the charity. Pets are bloody hard work, especially.
Oh yeah,
they are hard dogs. But I would say, but my Geraldine, little black and white pug, actually, like the butchest dog I could ever own. But she's literally like my bloody queen.
My son's favorite dog, little pug.
She's incredible. But as I say, I ended up taking her to the vets yesterday. I was like literally holding her like I thought she was dying. There's nothing bloody wrong with her. She's 2 pounds. She's 2 pounds overweight, so it's causing a couple of issues.
Every pug's overweight. That's kind of their job, isn't it?
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, no, it's weird, isn't it? But
yeah, well, mine's just done a cruciate ligament in, and we've had to put her in a cage inside so she doesn't run around because she's a spaniel, a little black spaniel, and she goes nuts. So we have to put her in there, and you can see that she's depressed, and it's so sad. So you know, I'm literally having to be a full-time nurse with her at the moment when I'm at home because I work from home anyway.
Yeah.
But it's a distraction, and it gives you something else to focus on. I think a little bit, which is quite nice. And you know, dogs don't ask you questions, do they?
No, not at all. Just the look, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, they can tell if you're miserable, and they'll just come up and sit next to you and cuddle you. They know. They're very instinctive. I think very empathetic.
Yeah, no, absolutely. One of my favourite things, except from obviously being with my wife, obviously, blah blah blah. But one of my just cover my ass.
My wife, blah blah blah. Yeah. My wife, blah 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 as well. In case you can hear. Yeah.
But no. One of my favourite things actually, where I just chewing gum for the brain, is sitting there watching Eastenders with my Geraldine.
Oh my god! Hang on, you have mental health issues and you watch EastEnders. That's one of the most depressing programs. And does it make you feel better about yourself watching everyone else?
Absolutely. But I'll tell you one thing. I have to give them credit. They've started covering things like anxiety and panic attacks and all that. So and the way they've done it, they touched with schizophrenia about a year years ago. And I think they've done that. They've clearly got advice from people who are actually struggling and suffering. But I guess that's kind of what you've done yourself.
Yeah. But I think also with men, like we, and again, I don't want to generalize too much, but you know, we tend to like watching like comedy, or we'd like to be entertained. We like to watch things, whatever. And actually, sometimes we're better at having that stuff subliminally given to us rather than in our face. Here's a leaflet, phone this person, which isn't always that helpful. I think sometimes the arts are able to talk about this stuff without ramming it down your throat in a way that you actually do listen and think about things. I mean, we had a lot of feedback when we put this play on last time, actually, that it really helped some people and it made some people really think about things. And you know, we're really hoping that it's going to have that effect this time, and that people will actually use the opportunity to talk to someone about something or some issue that they've got. And you know, we're doing Q&As at the end of every play. We're going to mingle with people in the bar afterwards, wherever we're performing, just to talk to people, so that if anyone does want to ask anything or talk to us about anything, they can do, or just, you know, have a drink with us because we've been making them laugh on stage for an hour and a half. Who knows, right? But sometimes just a laugh, just something funny is a little bit of a cure. temporarily for some
I,
people.
I think it's a massive cure, especially with the more butchy blokes, dare I say, probably.
Butchy blokes.
Yeah, I
I
guess.
am a butchy bloke. What do
Yeah,
you say?
I guess more the typical bloke.
Yeah,
You
less
know what I
likely
mean?
to
Like, they
talk.
don't mind talking about stuff, and
Yeah,
sometimes to do that is just by taking the piss.
yeah, and actually that's pretty much what we do. We don't dodge any difficult subjects, but what we do is we take people to some dark places, and then just when they're thinking, oh, we do something so stupid that makes them laugh in that kind of, I don't think I should be laughing at this kind of way. Like it's a bit inappropriate almost to laugh at this point.
Yeah,
But I think it's a very British thing to do that. It really is. British humour is often at our own expense. And I
yeah,
think sometimes to talk about these difficult things, we do the very British thing of not really talking about it, but talking around it and using comedy and what have you to make people more aware of stuff. I think is really important to do. And look, if we reach one person on our tour, and we're touring the UK in September, October, and that we're doing a performance in Chesham, where I live, in the big theatre here, the Algiva, in the 30th of June. But if we just touch one person from that entire tour,
is that the one I'm coming to?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, right.
yeah.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah, on 30th of June. Yeah, there's a whole event around it. We're
yeah,
we're doing lots of things there, but we want to be able to talk to people. We want, as I said, we affect one person. We get one person talking. We get one person help from the whole thing, or we just make just one person laugh. I'm sure we'll make more laugh, but we've done our job, and that will make us really really happy. And also, we've done something for the spirit of our friend Sean as well, who had a great sense of humour, and would have really appreciated the kind of Mickey take of the
yeah.
situation that we're dealing with.
Yeah, absolutely, and good on you. So just before we draw to a close, then, I'm going to skip the whole thing of if someone can relate, what would you tell them to do? Because I think you've already answered that up to a point.
Yeah, I mean, just talk. I don't know what else to say. Talk. Go and watch something. Go watch a movie. I don't know. Just find an excuse to go and see people. One of the things, because I'm quite introverted actually, although I come across the opposite. I find going out really uncomfortable. People will often say, "Oh, do you fancy going out?" And I'll make an excuse and I won't go. If someone offers to go out for a night or go for a drink or just to catch up, just take them up on it. Because I tell you what, you never want to do it beforehand because you feel crap about yourself. But within 5 minutes of being out, you think, "Oh, I'm so glad I came." And it's really good for your mental health to make an excuse to see people, go out and just do something. And I think maybe that's one of the things we're trying to achieve with the play, is give people something to go to, right?
I have to agree with that, because one of the terminologies, if that made any sense, of man up is actually if you're sitting there like you're depressed, anxious, it doesn't really matter what it is, and you're like, I just can't get out. Sometimes even because you can sometimes get into the pity party stage as well,
Yeah.
where your brain's just like can't think. Actually, if a mate's asking you to go for a pint or a coffee or a walk, it doesn't really matter what it is. If you don't want to do, if you don't want to go for yourself, do it for them.
Yeah, because people do worry about you, especially, you'd be surprised at how many people probably know that you're having a dark time or a bad time. And, I've got quite a few friends going through this at the moment, going through really dark times. Three of my best friends actually are struggling with their mental health for different reasons. And you wouldn't believe how much a small interaction with someone who cares about you can make a difference to the way you feel.
Yeah,
So yeah, just and to anyone else who isn't suffering from mental health issues or isn't suffering seriously from it, think about your friends and think about your family. Think about someone who maybe could do with going for a coffee or a drink or a walk, as you say, and reach out to them. And don't take no for an answer.
yeah,
Impose yourself on them and take them out, because it will make a big difference to them, I think.
makes a massive difference. But so just before we do call it a day, and I'm just looking at the time there, trying not to be all secretive.
I could see your eyes flicker.
Yeah,
Don't
no,
worry.
it's just I've got on
going.
the top of my Mac up there. I'm like, oh, there we go.
Told you I talk too much.
Because
This is
because I've
ADHD.
moved this bloody screen, like my usual like secret thing there. Now it's all the way up there. But anyway, I digress. That was a conversation before here. So if someone wants to come and see the play, I know I'm coming to the one on 30th of June.
30th of June, yeah, that's the opening night of the tour, I suppose. But we're performing in Salford, Manchester. We're performing. You're not allowed to say Salford, Manchester. You have to say Salford. Sorry, we're performing in Salford, somewhere near Manchester.
Right.
We're performing in the Isle of Wight. Yeah, in Gosport, Penshurst, which is in Kent, and we're performing in the Brockley Jack in London as well. So we're doing quite a lot, and there's some other venues coming up. But all I would suggest you do is type in past tense, as in TENTS.
Well. Yeah.
Yeah, brilliant. But type in that into Facebook, and you'll find our Facebook page, and all the ticket links and everything are on there, so you can find it. But come along for a laugh, and I'll tell you what, if you do come along, come and say hello and say that you came along because you saw this, and might even buy you a drink.
There you go, mate. Happy days for you. It sounds like the amount of work you're doing, you're going to earn a few drinks yourself.
Well, I hope so. I wouldn't be doing this to myself if I wasn't.
Yeah, absolutely. But good on you, mate, for still putting on I was going to say a brave face. It makes it sound like you're in doom and gloom. So I apologize. But...
I was before I came on this call. But again, it shows you, doesn't it? I've been having a bad day today, just for whatever reason. And you come on a call and interact with someone, and you go away and you feel much better. So this is living proof that it works to talk, right?
And on that bombshell, the famous Clarkson said. Excellent. Let's call it a day on that one. Let me hit the record button. Bear with me 1 second.